Hello everyone, this is HUSCast here, back with some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm 1v1 Acer Team Story Cup action. No, the intros just keep getting longer and longer and longer. And like I was saying, guys, the Acer Team Cup gives us some of the best replays. I would say out of a lot of the tournaments out there, they release them in a prompt type situation where they're like, you know what, we got to get these replays out immediately. They are very prompt with that. They, of course, have tons of teams competing in their league, and also they just have lots of good players duking it out, and their format does allow really good players to shine. It also allows someone who's having an exceptionally good day to shine, and it just shows us lots of good games. This one's got to be no exception. Down in the bottom right side, it is going to be Empire Happy, of course, representing his team in this team league for this match, and up on the top right side, you may be seeing a barcode. And that's correct. Don't adjust your TV or your monitor. It is indeed a barcode, but better known as Innovation, one of the best Terran players in the world, extremely successful Terran player, and really has the mentality of a champion. He just is always practicing, always playing, and always getting better. But he is going to be going up against a very safe style playing Happy. Every time I cast Happy, I feel like I talk about this. For the most part, he does play it safe, he does play it defensively, and he tries to get it into the late game. So we'll see if that style of play is going to be very good versus Innovation. Because I will say, in the history of StarCraft, in all the StarCraft games I've watched, I've cast over 2,500 on my channel. Keep in mind that I had even more than that back in Brood War, if you mix those in as well. So about 30, see, 5, what is that? 3,100 videos, something like that is what I've made on this channel alone, plus my second channel, which I kind of upload to for fun every now and then. Either way, that's a lot of StarCraft, and I've noticed that a lot of these players, when they go up against a Korean player, the Korean player's strength tends to be the late macro game. So you'll see a lot of cheeky players just trying to end the game right away, try and get a little bit lucky. And Happy, though, I just have a feeling he's got to be playing it out for the late game, which is always fun to watch these foreign players from outside of Korea facing off against who I think everyone can agree that for the most part Koreans are the best StarCraft players. That's kind of been the case ever since they made it a sport, before anyone thought that that was even possible. Does look like we are going to get first blood right here, though, as the Reaper goes ahead and takes out that little SCV. Oh my god, drill bit's just rolling for days. But it does look like right now Happy revealing that he does have a Reaper, but also revealing that I'm going to kill your SCV with it. So he does get the first blood right there. He's got to go ahead and move that Reaper out across the map. See if there's anything fancy going on that he can spot here. Not a lot of space to really jump up and down. I think that Innovation is going to know that, so he really knows where that Reaper is going to be coming into his base. And there it is right there. Actually kind of surprised to see Happy go for the attack as opposed to the scouting. But let's see exactly what he actually saw here. Whoa, basically nothing. He did see the 3 Marines there, though. Is he going to build a bunker? What is this SCV doing? What are you doing here, SCV? This is not the side of town you want to be on. The SCV is like, oh dear, oh goodness, I should head back home. Another Reaper is done. Probably not going to be able to scout all that much with the Reaper. It's going to jump up here and swing around the right side. Innovation does catch it, or at least sees it, but doesn't catch it, I suppose, as it is going to get inside the main base and scout everything that's going on. Keep in mind, this Reaper will most likely get taken out just because there's really nowhere for it to retreat. He can't jump up and down over here. He can only do it at the one angle, and he's got to try and get out of there, but guess what? 2 Marines there ready to greet them, so nice little sandwich attack there by Innovation. 200 resources lost by Happy, 100 lost by Innovation. But we begin to ask ourselves, number one, why am I talking to myself? And number two, was the scouting worth the 100 resources? Now, normally my gut reaction is to say yes, but in a mirror matchup, it's always kind of hard to tell because really, they have all the same tools that you do. So if you have lost more money, that is just more tools that they're going to have above you, and they're going to open up a hardware store. And you are not. You're going to be selling your few remaining tools on eBay, hoping that you get that one guy who pays $20,000 for a picture of a hammer, as opposed to the actual hammer itself. But we'll see if Happy can kind of recover from those resources lost. I think he should be able to. I don't think it's as big of a deal as it may be a little bit later on. But then again, in StarCraft 2, snowballing can get a little bit out of control if you have a very bad opener. We do have the starport going to be landing on here for Happy. What's he going to be producing there? I would assume some sort of Banshee. as that's really the only thing you need the Tech Lab for. Or he could go for a Raven, which is exactly what he's going to be doing right here. Now, the nice thing about the Raven was, number one, that he does see this Banshee here, so he knows that Innovation could very well get cloaking, which is exactly what's going to be happening. No SCVs are actually down here. The missile turret, though, does get one shot off, forcing the cloaking right away. I think the missile still hit him, unless I'm mistaken, and if you cloak with the missile mid-air, then you avert the damage. But I'm pretty sure that he did take the damage right there from that missile turret shot. The Marines right here trying to buy some time. He was in range of that missile turret down here as far as the vision is concerned. The Raven soon to be out, as that will help him spot it, but is it enough to actually do any amount of damage to it? The poor Marines here just getting annihilated. 7 kills on this Banshee. The Raven is almost done. There it is right there, and the Banshee does get taken out. Another Banshee here does not want to be here unless it is micro, which is exactly what's going to be happening. There's going to be the auto turret, actually a very well-placed auto turret, and he might actually get it here. So close, 8 HP, and Innovation still trying to get overly aggressive with the Banshee. The Raven needs to be chasing it around. This Banshee has 2 HP. He might actually be able to survive here. I cannot believe that Banshee actually survived, and that Banshee is not done yet. A Widow Mine has worked his way all the way down the map, burrowed right there, did not get any fancy shots off, as the Raven was able to spot that there. But I just gotta say, the fact that this Banshee survived with 2 HP and 1 energy here is one of the closest calls I think I've ever seen, as I don't even know how it's flying. You know what would be awesome is if when units start to take damage, if they actually started having structural damage. I don't think we're ever going to see this, because Blizzard has said adding extra models in the game does really help or really hurt the minimum specs for the game. But the Banshee, I think it'd be awesome if after it took damage it started having like one of these things not really spinning, maybe loses a wing, maybe the tail loses one of these little things. I don't know, that'd be kind of cool, like a Viking. Where's a Viking at? One of the engines is out, one of the wings is blown off, maybe the cockpit is cracked. Look, guys, I can dream, all right? I can dream and ask for the most ridiculous things ever. But for now, we do have lots of mules going to be dropping down here for Happy, looking to be in pretty good shape. But, of course, Innovation, after all of that harassment, going to be coming out way ahead. And really, I think at this point, Happy needs to be able to hold off these drops. Otherwise, he's going to be in a world of hurt. I mean, he's already in a world of hurt, but it's a world of hurt within the world of hurt that he's already in. So that is no fun. That's like playing an MMO that's based on you playing an MMO. Not the most exciting game by any means, and very painful indeed. But this attack is going to be quite brutal. The auto turret is still here, so it is going to be covering that side of the base. A big stim on these Marines. The 2 medevacs should be able to heal them up just fine. Happy needs to get out of there, though. Even though the missile turret buys him a little bit of time, needs to make sure to keep the workers alive. And it does repair the orbital right now, but is he going to go straight for the engagement right now? The auto turret, man, proving to be so useful. It's only gotten 1 kill, but the fact that it's there, it's about to time out. But it did lots of damage to the original Banshee. It also forced his army back just a little bit. A couple Marines are going to get left for dead. That is a lot like Left 4 Dead 2, man. That game is so hard on the harder settings. I don't care if you're some pro Left 4 Dead player who plays every day and the hardest settings aren't hard for you. For the average player, playing with friends who may or may not be terrible, not using any names, Jared, but basically that game is super hard, and that's exactly what those Marines suffered. That was more Left 3 Dead, which doesn't quite have the same ring to it there, and that's probably why Valve didn't go with that game title, Left 3 Dead. It doesn't really feel the same, but regardless, we are just at this point going to be seeing ridiculous production tabs. And I say this every time, I'm gonna say it again. Like at around the 12-minute mark for Terran, that is when your production, it's actually like ridiculous. It's like the Industrial Revolution, man. You got all sorts of overdrive things getting produced here as everyone is working, and there's lots of money to go around. Both players are on 2 bases right now. Innovation seeking to change that, as he does have his own 3rd base going to be on the way. Oh, a Marine battle to the death. Looks like 1 attack in combat shields is going to be much better than 1 attack without combat shields. Who would have thought? Happy, though, I really think he needs to start working on combat shields. If he is expected to keep producing Marines here, then he definitely needs to get out those combat shields. I feel like forgetting those would be a very sad error for him. Especially since the upgrade overall is not that expensive, considering how many Marines you're actually going to be making throughout the duration of the game. However, he also does not have a 3rd base on the way yet, so maybe he can't exactly afford that, as he is a little bit worried about having an army large enough to compete with Innovation coming up. Although these missile turrets are actually quite rare to see this many in a base. But like I was saying earlier, Happy really loves the turtle. He really loves to play it safe and is not going to be taking any damage from drops. It looks like, at least the amount of turrets he has. He's throwing down another 3 more missile turrets. And Innovation scans this and is like, well, I'm just not going to drop there. You can see that he did want to drop there. However, he may be doing even something better here. Moving his siege tanks over here could take out the majority of those missile turrets if he wants to. For now, he's just playing it a little bit safe, moving around slowly. And both players are actually scanning quite heavily here to see exactly what their opponent is doing, and it does look like right now Happy Guy moving out with his own dropships, gets spotted immediately by a Marine, and this just shows you how Innovation is already kind of a step ahead. He can intercept these drops, he knows where they're at, he knows when they're moving out, and he knows also when they are retreating, which is exactly what went on right there. So now we are starting to transition into about the 15-minute mark. This is where production tab can tend to slow down just a little bit, and that's primarily because upgrades are taking longer, you have less buildings to construct, you're getting closer to maxed out. I mean, look at this, 153 supply already. It's only 14.5 minutes, plus all the action that's taken place so far for Innovation. And I gotta say, I gotta be honest with you guys, a lot of you say, oh, Husky, why are you casting another TVT? More like BVB, boring versus boring, am I right? I will say, I actually really like TVT. Innovation is kind of forcing this older school style of play, but there's really a lot of things you can do in this matchup to try and spice it up. Of course, so far it's not really happening this game, but hey, we still have a spicy love life, all right? And I don't want to hear it, you guys. We have a Sentry Tower now down, and spots the army immediately. I mean, he already knew it was there, but it's just kind of nice to be reassured how large that army is. With these scans coming down for both players, they're actually able to see exactly what's going on. Secret Missile is going to come up, and a bit of a sloppy play there by Innovation as the tank does go down. But did lose a couple of Marines there, so a shocking turn of events, but is it enough to continue being shocking right now as the Raven and Vikings get taken out? So sacrificing a couple Marines to do that, absolutely worth it here. Does siege up just out of range of that Sensor Tower, which I gotta say, Sensor Towers are one of those things that are just so frustrating to go up against. Siege tanks right there trying to get sieged up in time. They really wish that they could siege instantaneously. You may say that would be super overpowered, and you would be correct, but man, would those siege tanks have a lot of fun, as the siege tanks are actually continuing to roll on out here, as we'll see if he manages to get these upgrades or not. As we did, the +1 attack now going to be on the way right now, as they are going to be kind of chilling out there. It does look like the army getting into position for both players. Marine Siege Tank, and the Medevacs mix in. This is kind of like Zergling, Baneling, Muta, but for Terran, where you see a lot of players get this. And we have this kind of awkward moment where the Medevacs trying to be a peacekeeper. Unfortunately, this is not like the Cleric guys in Braveheart, who are, you know, in all those battle scenes, they're like just trying to carry dead bodies around. No one is chopping their legs off. Not the case in StarCraft 2. They will definitely kill anyone that they can if it is their opponent. Sometimes you'll even see them kill their own units, which just shows you how brutal they are. Big Stim right there to try and chase this around. Lots of upgrades, though, on the way for Innovation. He's at 2 attack, 1 armor, while he's going up against Happy, who's only at 1-1. More upgrades are on the way, but a little bit behind right now. This is going to be a big upgrade advantage for Innovation. So Innovation's got to watch out for these drops right now, though, doing lots of damage. Sure, the Medevac's going down, but so are the workers. One Marine over here trying to hold off. At the same time, Happy's trying to figure out exactly what angle he wants to work at here. And workers killed 13-8, so Happy going toe-to-toe. Kind of holding his own. Sure, he's a little bit behind in the supply, but still able to do a little bit of economic damage here. Has got to keep those units alive. However, if this planetary goes down before it's done morphing in, that's going to be a dangerous loss right now for Happy. Does find more SCVs to kill, but does not have enough to kill off the reinforcing army right there. So got to watch out for that. The army for Happy is going to be chilling out over here, but it does look like more Marines, more siege tanks, but most importantly, lots of upgrades this game. The upgrades are going to be playing a huge role throughout this game at about 18, 19 minutes. This is where it starts transitioning into the late game. Do you get battlecruisers? Do you get Thors? Or do you just stick with the robust siege tank, Marine, Medevac composition? It's hard to beat, and really it's good for both players just to continue going for these builds right now. Now, the Marines here for Innovation are at 2-2, and the Marines now for Happy just also getting that upgrade right about now. So we'll see in this big engagement who has the better concave, who has the better angle. I think we know who has the better concave, as you can see Innovation here with just a massive concave. If this army scooted just a little bit forward, it would get destroyed in a matter of seconds. So Happy needs to make sure to watch out. However, he's going to be going for a drop here at the natural. Some pretty massive damage going to be thrown out. His siege tank does get the first siege, and also the first shot. The Marines need to split up here to reduce the amount of incoming damage. Does manage to kill us off though, and SCVs right now are in the danger zone. 2 siege tanks here for Happy are in a pretty good spot. They will be able to funnel those Marines right here in this choke point, which is exactly what's happening. I believe that Happy will eventually lose those siege tanks, and indeed he does. Not before getting one last shot though and having that arm, man. That was definitely a high five there, flying through the air. Now, I'm not sure if Happy's going to be able to do too much more dropping action or be able to pull it off, but so far, he is actually ahead by about 1,000 resources as far as that's concerned. So these drops are paying for themselves. And remember, you fly in with a drop, and it's like, you know, 4 medevacs full of units. It's not that you have to kill them with it. It's just that you want to do at least an equal amount of damage and maybe force them into a defensive position to where you can expand. Now, the main problem for Happy right now is, sure, he's killed off more stuff, but why is he behind in supply? Does not have a third base. He's got to get that third base up as soon as he possibly can. He's got to do it now, and he's probably going to have to be very, very careful with how he goes about it, because I have a feeling that innovation is not going to allow him to get that one easily. What he's also not getting easily is the away with these medevacs is going to go ahead and boost away. One medevac was super low on HP, and he's going to be the first to fall there. No big real surprise right now. What I want to know, though, is Innovation actually going to try and intercept those medevacs, or is he just going to leave them for dead? Ah, there are 4 medevacs, so the joke stands this time. But regardless, it does look like Innovation got moving out with a rather large army here. He does have to be careful, but his main goal is just to deny that third base. Deny that it ever happened, and make sure that it never does in the future. And he scans right there, sees, okay, well, there's no command center here, so I should be totally fine. Command center in the main base is mined out, except for the gas, so wouldn't be surprised to see him lift that off and take it to a 4th base right now. But you can just kind of see how Innovation is kind of playing with his prey a little bit. It's not in a way that's going to end up costing him a game or putting him behind in any means. That is definitely not what I meant, but he's definitely able to set up those contains. He's also able to prevent these attacks from happening. Sure, he was forced to cancel this, but he still got 3rd base, so, you know, 2 bases, not as good as 3, and the math definitely checks out. As Innovation trying to figure out, can I actually engage this army directly? There's a big stim. Are the 3-3s done for either player? No. Well, they are for Innovation. 3-3 is indeed done. And for Happy here, was not too happy about that, as he did not have time to get his 3-3 up and running. We do have lots of Sentry Towers coming down for Innovation. And I gotta say, Happy just now securing that 3rd base, that's going to put him in a terrible spot. I mean, sure, he now has pretty decent income right here, but just is not going to have the infrastructure to be able to back up this army should he continue to lose it. With the 3-3 upgrades now done, though, for Happy, or at least pretty close on that armor upgrade. We'll see if he can actually hold the line here. But Innovation having some fun with it. Going to be going for the Terran building armor. That increases all armor on buildings for Terran by 2. And he's also going for the high-sec auto-tracking, which upgrades lots of stuff, primarily planetary fortresses and missile turrets. And you can use those to kind of hunker down yourself, which both these players really show no signs of just trying to end the game right away. And, I mean, you can tell this is Happy's playstyle. Look at this. He's got this concave quite established, realizing that, you know what, all I have to really do is defend these 3 bases, and I should be in pretty good shape. Those look at the medevacs, though, trying to prevent them from indeed being in good shape. Guess what? Your missile turrets are now dead. Just gotta go ahead and unload these bad boys over here. They do fly into missile turrets, though, which was some needless damage laid out. None of them ended up dying. I'm pretty sure that siege tank just randomly spun around while it was in siege mode, but that's okay. We don't judge here. We don't judge. This is not Judge Judy. Although doing a dual cast with Judge Judy, I feel like may be worth it. Even if she has no idea what she's talking about, I could just listen to her yell at people all day. Right now, though, Innovation is going to be going up against a now equally maxed out army. And what that means is that Happy does have the ability to defend. He also has the ability to win a fight. What he doesn't really have the ability to do is pressure Innovation's base directly. Does look at the medevac over here with 1 Marine trying to delay that base, but now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases versus a mere 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's true, and he does have more command centers going to be on the way right now, and should be able to just really start landing those every which way. I mean, he's going to have so many. There's a planetary already up and running over here, just now going to be finishing that, and Innovation showing us just why Koreans are so good at this game. In the midst of all that chaos, he's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and take some more bases, going to go ahead and put a planetary here to help defend, going to go ahead and continue making the units that I am, and of course having probably a million APM. Yep, 256 to 249. Actually not bad for Happy. That is a very fast-paced game. That is for sure. Now, we do have lots of Sentry Towers just kind of hanging out every which way. I think we have 4 for Team Innovation and 3 for Team Happy. Which, again, the Sentry Tower is always that building that you only make when your opponent makes it, because you totally forget that it's even a building. as it does look like his army going to be getting into position right now. Nope, got to be retreating here for now. Oh, now he decides to go out. Okay. All right, can't even keep up with the commentary on that one. He doesn't know exactly where he's going. Happy, though, is going to be very willing to sacrifice these SCVs to do any amount of damage that he can, and the reason for doing so is it frees up more supply for units, and you can see that's exactly what he started making as soon as he lost those guys. More siege tanks, more marines. Also going to be spending the remainder of his money on some additional upgrades, which he is currently losing the upgrade battle in a big, big way. This is, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Lots of scans coming up here just to kill some minuscule units, maybe widow mines, things like that. Just make sure nothing is going to sneak up on him, and also knows where his opponent's army is at, which is so vital because you don't really get a whole lot of intelligence in the game. You really only get what you can see with your own 2 eyes. So you kind of have to watch out and scout as much as possibly can. Which, speaking of scouting, so many scans. I don't know if I've seen a game with this many scans in quite some time. Once the game gets to a certain point, people start stockpiling money so fast that it's actually a bit ridiculous. And thankfully for Happy, he doesn't have to worry about cloaked units. So that's a thing. He can be happy about that. He can just continue to use the energy on either scans to see where his opponent's army is at, or he can use them on mules if he would like to. Taking a look at the income tab right now, neither player actually has that many workers. There are going to be drops coming out on the right side. They do fly directly through the missile turrets. A bold move, to say the least. Probably dropped in the absolute worst spot on the entire map. Oh, dear. That's going to be a cleanup there. A nice and easy cleanup for Innovation, as he is currently crushing this game. And has really been crushing it since the very beginning. I think there's a lot of stuff that I can actually learn from this game, and especially if I ever start playing TVT, then going to play exactly like Innovation does, which is have 300 APM, play a flawless game, win multiple championships, and be sponsored by Team Acer. I mean, it sounds pretty easy to me. It does look like, though, Innovation may just be going for the kill right here as a bit of a killjoy, but you know what? That's kind of the whole point of StarCraft 2. If Empire Happy does not start putting some wins on the board, if he does not start figuring out how to win these skirmishes, then he is going to be in a world of hurt. Because Innovation, I mean, the longer he waits, the more and more of an economic edge he's actually going to have. Look at how many bases are on the map. It's actually a little bit sad that Innovation is able to get away with this many. We'll see if Happy can actually move out and take them out, or he'll be the one who is extremely sad. Planetary over here may go down, but I feel like it's definitely kind of worth it right now, as it does look like there's so many other bases here for Innovation. He can slowly start working down the planetary. Not sure if he's going to kill it in time. It looks like he will. Keep an eye on the HP right there. But there is going to be another attack through the center of the map, just crushing everything. Siege tanks almost seemingly not doing anything. I'd say they melted like butter, but even butter can be, I feel like, doing more damage to someone than that. I guess just good splits and the big stem just running directly into them, getting in that blind spot is really kind of how you have to deal with that, and we just saw that it ends up working out quite well. The Marines up here, man, they are literally shivering in a corner. They don't know what's going to happen to them momentarily, and hopefully they do not run down that ramp. That would be pretty gruesome, to say the least. And it does look like Innovation right now going to go ahead and move out with everything he's got. I mean, why not? He is maxed out, so might as well try and go for it. But I don't know if this angle is going to be good enough for him, as the concave from Happy looking pretty good. The siege tanks in the back doing lots of damage as well. I think that Happy will hold here, but does end up losing a lot of those tanks there at the last minute. If he would have had more at that location, it would have been fine. But then again, if you had more tanks at that location, would the attack have come? Kind of hard to say. Medevacs right here do get taken out as well. And there is going to be a big attack over here, trying to lock down yet another base. 4 siege tanks here. Going to be doing tons of damage to Planetary. Might actually be able to repair it if he wants to. There he goes right there. Going to begin mass repairing that. If nothing else, it does delay mining. It does force a wasting of minerals in that repair. Big siege tank shots coming up from Innovation. I just feel like Happy cannot catch a break. I mean, he's doing lots of damage, or at least trying to, but now he's starting to get picked apart here. These drops not working out. The counterattack's not really working out. The expanding not working out. And this is exactly why going up against a player like Innovation in the late game, probably not a good idea. It's got to be very, very tough to pull off unless you are extremely confident in your gameplay, because Innovation is just rock solid. He is going to go ahead and move out with all these siege tanks, which of course there are quite a few of, as they do begin to push forward now. And is he actually going to go for the kill, or does he just sit back once again, make everyone in the camp a little bit crazy, and then yeah, try and force them out of their little base So I've been watching a lot of Deadwood, so I just use the term camp, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. As in Deadwood, they always call the town a camp, which really, I mean, this is kind of like Deadwood. This is kind of like the Wild West, if you think about it a little bit. But oh my goodness, that is got to be it. That is not enough to hold on, as it looks like Innovation just crushing on through. Now, I am actually going to continue, I think, to cast some of Innovation's games, or maybe some of the other games from this series, just because there's so many good players on both Acer and Empire that we could see some Scarlet action. We could see some more innovation. I might actually go ahead and do that. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time.